Hello and good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. My name is Nick Marro with Occupy Fantasy. You could find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS, and I'm here to help you break down or give you more of a first look on tonight's six-game NBA slate for both DraftKings and FanDuel. If you haven't already, become a member at Occupy Fantasy today, for we have a wonderful NBA model that's helping our subscribers win on a nightly basis. We have a Discord server where you could access myself and our other experts for one-on-one information leading up into each slate pre-lock. We also have a voice channel for pre-lock Q&A. We have ownership projections, a lineup builder, and yeah, just every tool you need to win in the NBA this season. And yeah, other sports as well. But please like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's get into the six-game slate here. So I'm going to start with the injury news. Up top, we have a big one. And when I say a big one, I mean it's a big one. We got Ja Morant doubtful for the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, which is obviously going to open things up for one Tyus Jones amongst others. Pretty much everyone in this offense is going to see more usage now. Jaren Jackson Jr. is still out. So yeah, I mean, Tyus Jones is pretty much going to be a lock for you in cash games, and he's going to be very tough to avoid in GPPs as well. So we're getting him at 4,500 on FanDuel, and let's see, we are getting him for 4,700 on DraftKings. So yeah, he's really cheap, and I think we already have ownership up today, which is awesome. Yeah, he's coming in near 60% on DK, nearly 75% on FanDuel. And I mean, this is for a few reasons. Obviously, him sliding into the starting lineup where Josh sees more usage than anyone on that team is going to be a major boost, but he's also affordable, and he's in one of the closer games when we're talking about spread. There's a lot of wide spreads on this slate, so we got to kind of keep an eye out for potential blowout risk. But yeah, if we're looking up and down, I mean, the closest game on the slate is the Grizzlies at the Jazz, same spread as Philly at Chicago. And yeah, this Miami game's not on the slate, so make sure you guys aren't leaning on any Miami or Kings players as you start to think about who you want in your lineups this evening. But yeah, Jaw's the big news here. Um, and yeah, after Tyus Jones, I think we're also going to have to look at Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks. Bane's been outstanding to start the season, taking more shots than we've seen him in years past, coming off back-to-back games of 45 plus DK points, similar scores over on FanDuel. And this is a guy that gets you points, he gets you blocks, he gets you rebounds, assists, the occasional steal or two as well. So yeah, as much as I like Jones and as obvious of a play as he is, I think I like Bane just as much, if not more. Um, yeah, love him here. Tough not to like him against Utah. Utah has been playing well, but they aren't really good on the defensive end. And I don't think that's going to change much now that Colin Sexton's healthy and seeing more minutes. Another guy we could probably look at maybe more as a GPP pivot. I think he'll be involved in cash builds as well, is a Dillon Brooks. Everyone knows Dillon Brooks is Dillon Brooks' biggest fan. This guy likes to shoot the ball a ton. Really haven't seen it out of him. He's still ramping up. Hasn't played 30 minutes in a game yet this season, but I think we could see him eclipse that potentially tonight. Of all these guys on Memphis that we're going to be playing, he's probably the riskiest of the bunch. But I do certainly think he's in play. Santi Aldama, okay play. He's kind of been boomer bust, but that's a front court guy, so maybe we can't rely on him as much. Brandon Clark, if he sees more minutes, another front court guy, but also kind of a combo. I don't know. He's one of these positionless hybrid type guys. We could see him play everywhere, so I don't mind some Brandon Clark as value. Steven Adams looks really good. Really though, like when the best player on a team is out, you kind of have to look to everyone else. And the other thing to keep in mind is John Conchar is actually questionable here as well. So I know I'm spending a lot of time on these Grizzlies, but it's for good reason. Like these are kind of the building blocks where you're going to be starting your builds tonight. And there's going to be some runbacks on Utah we can talk about when we get to that game. Excuse me. All right. After John, looks like Terry Rozier is listed as a game time decision. Still no LaMelo Ball for Charlotte. So if they're both out, we can look to DSJ again. Obviously, that did not go well last night. I can completely understand if you don't want to go there, but if the field's feeling the same way, maybe he's a good GPP leverage play coming off a game in which, yeah, let's pull up the box score here. He really did not do much. The game before he looked great, but that went to overtime. But yeah, 4 points, 4 assists, 4 blocks. That's a terrible line for Smith Jr. as the starting point guard. Um, I mean, his backup Boone Knight has actually been surprisingly decent. Let's see here. Yeah, really not decent enough to want to rush to, but I don't mind him as a punt in tournaments. Probably not someone I'm going to be getting too much. Um, but Hayward, one of these guys who's a point forward. We had a funny comment yesterday. Someone was like, What on earth is a point forward?" Um, Pretty much when there's no point guards, we see forwards kind of have to take on that ball handling role, and it creates this sort of hybrid position. But really, it's great for us in DFS because you're getting guys that score, handling the ball, passing more, which boosts their potential assists, boosts their fantasy point per minute rates. So I do like Hayward here a lot. He's been solid, coming off a few good games. Let's see how the prices for these Hornets are looking over on FanDuel. So the Memphis game selected, but yeah, Smith 6,900. Really not crazy about that. I don't mind Hayward, and then clicking right down to Oubre. Kind of a similar play to Hayward. Both these guys are generally scoring dependent. I think we're more likely to see Hayward kind of running the offense than we are in Oubre, but Oubre's certainly shown the higher ceiling in the past couple of seasons. PJ Washington's a guy, decent front court player, very inconsistent. Only played 22 minutes last night, so maybe we get a bit more run out of him on the back to back. And then yeah, Jalen McDaniels, he kind of relies on stocks. You need the blocks, the steals to get a ceiling game out of him. Um, but yeah, he's in play. It's just I have trouble rushing to guys that aren't going to get to 30 minutes, and I don't think McDaniels really ever does. If Cody Martin's in, he's okay. And then let me look at Plumlee quickly. Yeah, Plumlee's a cheap center. All right option. Really not someone I'm rushing to, especially against Golden State. That's kind of a tough matchup. Um, but yeah, we'll probably get a little bit of love for the Hornets as the days go on. Be sure to check the Occupy model if you guys are subscribed for ownership, as it does adjust throughout the day. As more injuries come in and more values open up, then we see some of these higher price guys kind of climb up. Because yeah, as we get more of this cheap value, the more you can kind of fit in the studs. So let's see. Any other major injuries here? Still no Oladipo for the Heat. Still no Middleton for the Bucks. Um, I also have the NBA injury report up just from the NBA website. I don't think anything's changed. Um, it's tomorrow. Or no, that's today. But yeah, it's really these Grizzlies as building blocks when we're talking about injuries. Now I'll talk through some of my favorite value plays. We already touched on a lot of them. Miles Turner looked excellent last night for the Pacers. Obviously he's working his way back from injury, so that's something to keep an eye on. If he's out, we could look to like Jalen Smith again. Maybe even Goga Batadze if he starts as a riskier option. But yeah, Turner looked outstanding, and the Nets have been known to have a soft front court defense, not only this season but in seasons past. And yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon. Um, but look at these numbers. Yeah, 5 blocks, 2 assists, 10 rebounds, 27 points for Turner in just 32 minutes. If he's starting again, I think he's one of the better center plays. I am a bit concerned on the back-to-back that they decide to limit him or pull him. But that's one of the early games, so we should have that news before lock. Definitely get in the Discord if you're not already for updates, and we're quick to adjust um, as this news comes out. And if Turner does sit, then we can look to Jalen Smith kind of as a pivot. But both of these guys are going to look really good here. Brooklyn's a massive favorite at home. They've yet to win a game yet this season. I think they're 11-point favorites. Um, yeah, I'm not sure they cover that, and I'm a Nets fan. 10 points. So yeah, there's been some steam on the line already this morning. People betting Indiana. Um, I don't mind it. Personally, I don't love this game, but I probably should. It's one of the higher totals, two teams with really weak defenses. And yeah, we see Turner popping up here as the top DK value play. Whenever you're getting a mid or high price guy popping at top of value, that's always a very good sign. Usually it's the very cheap plays because they don't take much to kind of hit that value. So we're seeing Turner really looking great on both sides. PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Mason Plumlee, all these Charlotte guys we discussed before. They're just really thin right now. And on a back to back, I do have some hesitancy against Golden State, but if that game's going to stay close and they're going to need big games from these starters in the backcourt and front court alike, Clint Capella, interesting play here against Milwaukee. He's looked pretty good, but as always seems to be the case with Clint Capella, the minutes are inconsistent. I don't know that that changes this year. Yeah, we're looking at 22, 26, 23 minutes. He's still putting up good numbers, but pushing 6K, he's going to be tough to get to. I think he's priced similarly over on DraftKings. Um, let's see here. But yeah, I don't mind some Capella. I really like Giannis. He's probably one of my favorite payups tonight, which really isn't really isn't a hot take or anything. But yeah, it's just another one of those slates where we have a lot of good payups, even on a 6-gamer. Look at this: we got Giannis, Luka, Durant, Embiid, Kyrie, SGA, and it goes on and on. But yeah, I'll stick with value just a little bit more here. We already talked about Jones; he's really the top value play. Aldama. Um, hmm. I'm a bit surprised to see Grayson still popping, but I mean the usage is going to be there with Middleton out. The price is back down on FanDuel, which is good to see. He's back down to 4,200. So yeah, I don't mind Grayson Allen as a pawn. He's okay. Really not someone I'm excited about. I'd probably get to more Memphis guys first, but in tournaments, you don't want to just play all the chalk. Like if you're playing cash games, sure, sort by ownership, get as many of those top guys in as you can. But in tournaments, if you find your lineups getting a little chalky, maybe a guy like Grayson Allen's a good way to get a little bit different. Let's see here. Just checking a few things out. So yeah, I mean, really, those are the value plays right now. I'm sure we get more value as the day progresses. Um, just seeing if there's any real guys that are standing out to me. But no, it's really Memphis and Charlotte and some of these shooting guards. But yeah, Conchar being out would be a nice boost to some of these secondary plays for Memphis. As it stands, I think you can really load up on any of the starters there. And then let's take a quick look at ownership. So yeah, Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks, top plays here. We're seeing Jalen Smith really high up in the ownership. Maybe that's kind of under the assumption that Turner sits on the back-to-back. I think that's something that we have to keep an eye on. I like Smith either way, but I definitely like him better if Turner's out. Um, Giannis is kind of the top owned pay up right now, which is something I agree with. You could go down to Kevin Durant, who's sub 10K on both sides. Durant's looked really good. Don't be too fooled by these Nets game logs here. They had an overtime game against Dallas, but Kyrie and KD both had really solid games. 54 points in 41 minutes for Kevin. And then let's see here. Kyrie, 71 fantasy points in 42 minutes. Definitely don't think he's going to duplicate that. His price is way up. But if I'm picking one or the other, it's usually Kevin Durant for me if they're going to be priced the same. Usually we see Kyrie about 1K cheaper. Let's see if it's the same over on DK. Yeah, we get Kevin Durant at 9,900 and Kyrie's 9,500. So the pricing algorithm on both sites really, really adjusted aggressively for Kyrie there. Who I still like, but it's kind of recency bias if we go with Kyrie over KD. So I'm leaning KD out of those two. And now we could talk about everyone's favorite player, Ben Simmons. 6,100, back-to-back 30-point fantasy games. Do I like him? I don't know. Is he viable at 6K? Sure. Let's see what his price is on DK, 6,400, a little bit tougher to get to. I think he's in play. Really not a guy I'm rushing to. Yeah, the ownership's down though, And on a small slate like this, I'm a little bit surprised by that. He's more popular over on DK, actually, where he's getting point guard and power forward eligibility. He has small forward eligibility on FanDuel, which usually bumps his oh no, I'm getting that mixed up. He's power forward eligible on FanDuel, small forward eligible on DraftKings. He's okay. Very wide range of outcomes. He could get you 40 points in a triple double, or he could get you single digit points in like a single triple, as some like to call it. So yeah, I'm not rushing to that Nets game, even though it has one of the highest totals on the slate. I do like Indiana front court there if I'm kind of targeting any part of that, but if I'm kind of trying to jam in a pay up, it's probably Giannis first. So I really like Giannis. Luka's always going to be great. Dallas is at home tonight. Very large favorite against OKC. If Shai's in, I think that's a good thing. It probably keeps the game closer. He's going to be in play, but sure. If you can't get to Giannis and you want to go Luka, he's going to be much lower owned. I imagine the model will reflect that. Yeah, 23% compared to 31% on FanDuel. 24%. Only 9% own Luka on DraftKings on a 6-game slate. So that's going to have some appeal to me in tournaments. Let me just quickly click through positions here and see who stands out. Yeah, I think you're starting most builds with Tyus Jones today. I don't mind Jordan Poole. Oh yeah, something to touch on quickly. Yesterday, Zach LaVine rested for the Bulls. He's not hurt. They're just kind of managing his injury, so I expect he'll be back tonight. So he's going to be kind of the freshest guy in that Bulls lineup. And we could say the same about Embiid for Philly. I imagine he's going to be back. So where is Zach LaVine? There he is. He still has an O tag, but I think he's going to be in. So I really like Zach LaVine at 7,300 on FanDuel. Let's see what his price is over on DraftKings. 7,700, still solid. So yeah, you guys kind of see where I'm going with this today. I really like Giannis. I really like LaVine. Maybe some Embiid, assuming he's in. We'll have to keep an eye on that news, but I do think he's going to be back. First game of the season, night range. Yeah, it says he still has a chance to suit up. So we didn't have him in our injury model, but I do think he's going to play, so that makes sense. If he's out, obviously we can look at Tobias Harris. James Harden would become appealing. He was a major dud last night with Embiid out, which was obnoxious for me because I was heavily on him. Only 23 fantasy points. But yeah, after that type of game, you like to think Harden probably bounces back here. If Embiid's out, he's going to be one of my preferred pay-ups. But yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Sorry, stumbling over my words here. Become a member at Occupy Fantasy. Get access to the model. Get access to the lineup builder. Get access to our experts. If you're going to win in DFS in 2022, you need tools. You need these types of resources to compete. And yeah, as much as I can give you on this video in the morning here, as the day kind of goes on, and we get more news and we get more injury opening up value and things like that, that's when you're really going to want to be in a Discord where people can kind of help you walk through that type of thing. And we have a great team of experts. Shouts out to Chuck, who I think came second in the pick and roll on FanDuel last night, winning $1,000. Always nice to see. And yeah, guys, just can't say enough about the team. Really happy to be here and looking forward to another fun slate tonight. Let's make some money.